Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I didn't know whether or not I should film this because I just always assume everybody knows how to do things. But I had a starting point. I had to learn everything too, so I'm thinking there are still some newbies out there. I'm at the point where I want to add stencils, some stenciling to my background pages in my journal. I like to do that before I stitch it all together because it just helps to have a flat surface. So I'll show you what I did to begin with. In stencils, you can get them anywhere, any shape. I tried to get like a whole bunch of different shapes, geometrical shapes work well with any project. You can get things for flowers and birds and swirls. It's just limitless. And so I just went through my drawer and I found some of these, so I decided these are what I want to use. And I've already done a little bit. You can barely see it, and that's the point, because people still want to write over it. And I used this stencil just to add a little bit of more interest in the background. And this one I used this one. Now you may think that, well, how hard can stenciling be? And there is no right or wrong way. It's just, depends on what you like to see. But while I was learning how to do, art journaling, which is where you're in mixed media, where you're learning to use all these different items, there was like a trick. When you see something like this, you might think, oh, I have to use all of it. And in mixed media, I learned if you use bits and pieces here and there, instead of making it a square or a circle, that just blends into the background so much better, and it doesn't stand out because these are pretty much like background things. I don't know the proper word. So if you can see, I just did parts of a stencil here, a little part here. It's not the total complete, octagon or whatever this is, honeycomb shape. And that's what gives it more interest than just plopping down. And I can show you, here's a piece of paper, an example. I think that helps sometimes. Where did my little octagon piece go? And this works with any stencil. So I love using these makeup brushes. I found this from other YouTubers, and they do work really well versus the sponge thingies, which get caught up. So let me show you what I was talking about. So you see this, and you think, well, okay, this is where I gotta start. I'm just going to do a little piece of it so you can see. So you have a square, basically, and just because there's lines here, that doesn't mean that's where you have to start doing your stenciling at. So let me show you a nicer way. Like, just pick anywhere and just kind of go in no particular order, not just a round circle. I'm dragging it down. And look how that just blends into the background so much better. I'll show you another time. Just gonna pick a little bit, and I'm not really thinking about it other than I don't want to keep it straight. I got a little bit too straight there. But also with stenciling, you can layer over, with different colors and any, things that you don't like. You can hide. But for scrapbooking, junk journaling and stuff, it doesn't matter as much because they're probably going to write over it and put a picture of it or something. But in mixed media, this is what I learned from. Just layer back over it, and now you can't really see that square. This is going to be harder to hide though, because it's too large of an area of a square. If you were using paints or something, it would cover it more, and it still does kind of hide it, so you can always fix what you don't like. Now let's see who went where. So that is, I guess, one of the most important tips for me that I can give is don't think you have to go along the outline. You know, if you just stick to even just the center, you can't go wrong. You know, depending on how long you want it. If I stay away from the center, I feel like I'm doing better. You know, the designs come out so much nicer. There's a lot of ink on here. Okay, so let me give you some more working examples in my book and how I'm going to do it. I don't need you. I did some leaves here. And I'm not going to do that page or that page. Oh, so I was on this page. And I thought, ooh, you're hiding. The exception, and not even the exception, yeah, is if you're doing like an animal kind of a thing, maybe you want the whole image. These are greens. Do I want to go against the green? Let me see if where's my green? It's black. That is way far from green. Okay, here's a twisted citron. So that's a light green. And maybe I just want to put that up here. And you're thinking, well, in the wildlife, you know, birds aren't citrus green. But guess what? These aren't realistic. See, that just adds, you know, just another little more interest to the page that wasn't there before. And even if it's not perfect, you still know what it is. You know that it's a bird. So I'm gonna leave that one like that. Wipe off my brush a little bit, because I never know what color I'm gonna use next. Let's see, another page that I can do. Stay in there. So this page is blank, and we've got some blues here, so I think that's what I'll use. Some blue. Something blue. Maybe I'll do a blue flower. Now we have this. Yeah, this is darker. This is Salty Ocean. Just to make sure. Now I don't press really hard on this because I don't want to break its neck. So I just, you know, and just go. Oops, now I got lotion on it. Okay, so let's just put this pretty little thing. And there. And I'm not doing it, also, what do you call it? Filling it all the way in. There are some dark spots and some light spots. And I found that really at dimension, I guess. I think it makes it look pretty. And another thing you can do is mix more than one color. Do I have a darker blue? Yes, let's see what happens when I use a little bit of this color to fill in those, you know, maybe where you would think it would be darker, like around and underneath some of the items. Well, some of the, what do you call it? I'm at a loss for words. Ooh! I like that, sorry. See, it just, I imagine that's dimension. That's what the word is. Lights and darks. And instead of just being flat one color, I sometimes forget, you know, use more than one color. And so I think that'll work. Where was this? You were over there. So in here we've got some reds, so I can use Do I want seedless preserves? Let's try seedless preserve, because I know mahogany matches to the aged mahogany. Let's see what it'll do. And you can also just use stamps. I do that. I kind of mix it up from using stamps to stencils. And I guess I hadn't used stencils enough. And they pretty much give the same effect. But on stencils, you can definitely control more where you're putting, don't do that lightly, where you're putting the ink. On a stamp, well, no, because when I use this big stamp, I don't just stamp the whole thing. I'm just like pushing, you know, pieces, parts, and you can tell this part gets used the most. So you can control, but like the wood ones, yeah, you don't have a whole lot of control there. And so this would be the difference. It's definitely a darker, but it also adds, I like that. There we go. So trying to move quickly so you don't get too bored. Where's another page? Okay, this is all good. This I already used stamps on. Okay, here is a green page. I haven't used this yet, so, but yeah, we can do it. Let me get the, where's my dark green? I have a dark green somewhere, because that'll show up nicely. Citrus. Oh, there it is. Okay, this one is pine needles. Just make sure. Get a little bit more of that ink off. Although, you know, it'd be a second color, so it still wouldn't matter. I've done that accidentally and I've really liked it. So I'm leaving some dark and light areas. And that is cute. So on these, you know, it's a smaller image. And a lot of times these I will, you know, because small image, I do get most of it. I don't really subconsciously, but when you're working with these big ones, you know, it just makes such a difference if you don't use the whole stencil. Let's see what else is here. What can I do here? What color is this? This is a weird color. It's none of these. Faded jeans, no. Aqua, no. I don't have an aqua. Peacock feathers, maybe. So we'll do more of this one, so you see how I use it. Let's start up here. And even though I almost did it in a circle, I knew most of the ink was already gone, so it would give a faded, ooh, that's that word I was looking for, a faded, fade out look. Because most of the ink just landed there in the middle. And you notice I don't re-ink, you know, because I like that fade out look. And then I just kind of pick a couple of areas. A lot of times it's dent, 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 you know, just to get around the page. You can always do like a teensy bit there. And that was really light, but you can see the difference when I first did the trial. You don't have those harsh, that's it, the harsh edges. You know, it just kind of fades out. Most of the color is staying there in the middle. So that is just hopefully a little trick that I had to learn for stenciling when I was doing my mixed media. And this is kind of mixed media pretty much. I mean, good Lord, we're using fabrics, we're using paper, we're using gems, we're using stitching and lace. So these, my books are pretty much mixed media, especially when I'm doing ink and stenciling. So I hope that has helped a little bit. If you have any more questions, please ask me. I love trying to help everybody else learn what I have learned over the years. So, happy crafting. Bye-bye.